Good morning, and thank you all for being here and coming to Medtronic. It's an exciting day for Medtronic, and it's an exciting day for our employees here in Irvine. We've been part of this community for 2 decades, and this is really a node for innovation and impact across the MedTech community. We have 1,300 employees within Orange County here that work every single day to develop technology and medical technology for not only the United States but the world. I'm particularly proud of the building you're in today. This is our neurovascular facility where we create technologies for stroke. Stroke is one of the largest causes of disablement or death in the United States and around the world, so people every day are working on that technology. Orange County is really a wonderful healthcare ecosystem. This community really allows us to work carefully together to create high-quality jobs and create this wonderful ecosystem that allows us to continue to move technology forward for positive impacts and outcomes for patients worldwide. It's my pleasure to welcome Governor Newsom here to Orange County to be able to see what is happening here and to be really see the fruits of the efforts that his administration has provided by the Jobs First program. We're very excited about that. So with that, it's my pleasure to welcome Jeffrey Ball, the CEO and Chairman of the Orange County Business Council. Jeffrey.
Thank you, Brett. Honorable Governor and esteemed guests, my name is Jeff Ball, and I am the President and CEO of the Orange County Business Council. We are an organization focused on economic development for this wonderful region of our state. Our team, led by our Vice President of Business Initiatives, Jesse Benron, who I believe is here with us, our Director of Research, Dr. Wallace Walrod, who I see is here. Our team is proud to serve as the regional convener for Orange County on the Jobs First initiative, and we have done so in the spirit of this important program to the benefit of a diverse set of projects and initiatives. We contracted with 27 organizations, trusted messengers in our communities. With their engagement, we deployed surveys, social media, canvassing, community forums, and more, working in 11 different languages to get input on what a stronger, more equitable, and climate-forward economy should look like in Orange County. We also built a steering committee of 70 organizations and individuals who had final input and say on the outcomes of this initiative. A powerful effort which yielded over 5,000 respondents. Governor, you always envisioned a bottoms-up economic development plan, and I can tell you with confidence that that is exactly what we have delivered for you here in Orange County. $9 million of catalyst funding provided to this region was able to support 46 projects. These projects span from a wildfire response and recovery job training program to a drone technician training hub, to an AI-enabled innovation hub, to a job placement program for neurodivergent individuals in healthcare. Of that $9 million, we set aside $1 million of the investment pool to fund Orange County's priority industry sectors of semiconductor, healthcare, childcare services, tourism and outdoor recreation, and MedTech. Speaking of MedTech, since we are here at Medtronic, I would like to point out that we funded several projects that advance this critical industry for our region. Through the development of a supply chain map to identify gaps, vulnerabilities, and localization opportunities, a workforce needs assessment aligning employer needs with education, workforce programs that expand access to good-paying MedTech careers for our underrepresented residents, 2 mentorship and apprenticeship pathways, a MedTech navigator that will streamline and accelerate planning and permitting for MedTech businesses here in Irvine, an idea which we will share with 34 of our Orange County cities in order to empower them to do the same. It is because of your vision and leadership, Governor, that we are able to bring these focused economic development investments to this, your 3rd most populous county. It is an honor and a privilege to welcome you here to this great region of leading innovation and attainment. So, thank you for this great opportunity, which we will continue to cultivate and develop for years to come. And with that, I would like to present to you Orange County's Job First Regional Plan. It's just a modest 710 pages. So it should give you some great reading material as you head up to Kern County. So remember it. Thank you, Governor. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinct pleasure to welcome Stuart Knox, Secretary of the California Labor and Workforce Development Agency. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Brett and Medtronics for hosting us today. I also want to recognize the regional partners that Orange County helped shape this plan for the Jobs First plan. These partnerships are what made the governor's vision for California very effective. This is exactly what the governor was looking for, I believe. The Jobs First aligns economic growth with workforce preparation. Regions identify where opportunity is emerging, and together we ensure California's workforce is positioned to meet that demand. Orange County has prioritized the life sciences, advanced manufacturing, and high-tech production. These industries depend on skilled workers and long-term career pipelines that are built through training and apprenticeship training programs all throughout the state of California and in collaboration between employers, educators, and what turns regional strategy into real opportunity for workers. Last year, we showed us exactly what alignment looks like across California, and one of labor agency's departments, the Employment Training Panel, which many of your entities within Orange County actually use, which is great, directed more than $82 million towards worker training, reaching over 70,000 Californians statewide. Behind each of those numbers is a worker gaining new skills, a company growing, and a family benefiting from stronger economic stability. Apprenticeship also expanded. Throughout this governor's term, he told us he wanted 500,000 apprentices. We've actually have over 600,000 earn and learn through the Division of Apprenticeship Standards and all of our education partners over the last 7 years. Workforce alignment advanced with the rollout of the Master Plan and Career Education. Under this governor's leadership, that effort strengthened the connection between education systems and regional labor markets, making career pathways clearer and easier to navigate across the state of California. Jobs First ties these efforts together. It gives regions, employers, and workforce agencies a shared direction that we've never had before. So those investments reinforce each other, and workers see a pathway forward. For workers, that means clearer entry points into stable careers, and for employers, it means dependable talent pipeline. And for the regions like Orange County, it means growth supported by workforce capacity and a shared commitment together. Our focus is now expanding that access throughout the state, strengthening these partnerships, measuring success, as the governor tells us often. That work continues because the goal is not just growth, but opportunity for those workers as we see them today and for tomorrow. We appreciate the leadership shown here in Orange County and look forward to continuing to work this together on this. And now it is my pleasure to introduce a really actually dear friend of mine, Dee Dee Myers, the head of GoBiz.
Thank you, Secretary Knox, Stuart, who has been my partner in crime all through this process. And as you heard him talk about how important the workforce development piece is to this process. I'd also like to thank Brett and all the people at Medtronic for hosting us today. This is an incredible example of the ecosystem that only exists in a place like California, here at one of our great UCs, UC Irvine, and the incredible flywheel of technology and innovation that has evolved around it. So thrilled to be here. And finally, thanks to Jeff Ball. As you were speaking, I was wondering, is he an AI invention? He's so perfectly encapsulated everything we hoped this regional planning process would be and what it could produce. And to see him go through it and the number of people that they brought together, the number of different organizations, the way they included inclusion and sustainability and all the other values that we started with to create the beginning of an ongoing process to create good-paying jobs here in Orange County. And not only that, but the incredible products is not just about jobs, it's about the incredible products that these companies produce. So just thrilled to be here today. When the governor asked us to start this process several years ago, the idea was to, again, a bottom-up regional planning process that would identify what are the strategic industries in each sector that can most help drive economic growth and create jobs. And so in Orange County, the number one sector that was identified is life sciences, particularly medtech, which we see here today. And again, that wasn't us top down. That was you all bottom up saying this is what's going to help our industry and our region prosper. And so thrilled to see that in action here today. This is about the 1-year anniversary of when we rolled up all those 13 regional plans into a statewide blueprint. The governor rolled that out in LA County in the aftermath of the fires almost exactly a year ago, and has been visiting each of our regions diligently over the past months and the past year. And over the course of that last year, the state has invested not just through the Jobs First program, but $1.6 billion in economic growth. So through Jobs First, through some of our other signature programs, the Cal Competes tax credit program, our film and television tax credit program, and other investments that we make. And the idea has always been, how do we leverage those investments to bring in private capital, to build partnerships, and to drive our economy, our world-leading global $4.3 trillion economy here in California. How do we keep that going? And through the hard work and the leadership of all of you and people across this county, I think it's exceeded our expectations, and I think the future will just continue to, drive this process and achieve our goals. So thank you, everybody, for all your commitment and investment. And with that, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing one of our great champions in economic development here in California, Assemblymember Cotty Petrie-Norris.
Good morning. I am Assemblywoman Cotty Petrie-Norris, proudly representing California's 73rd Assembly District here in Orange County, which includes the great city of Irvine, our host today. I just want to say that I am thrilled to welcome Director Myers, Secretary Knox, and Governor Newsom to celebrate Jobs First here in Orange County. Orange County is an economic powerhouse. We are one of the major economic engines here in the state of California. Orange County has an annual GDP of more than $300 billion, making us the third largest county economy in California, and giving us an economic size that is actually larger than some 33 states in the union. So, Jobs First is going to build on Orange County's strengths. Our economy is driven by a diverse set of thriving industries, from healthcare, technology, advanced manufacturing, clean energy, and more. With Jobs First, we are going to continue to invest in these high-growth industries. We are preparing Orange County's workforce for jobs that are high-paying, high-quality, and provide real career paths. And we are also ensuring that with this plan, that as Orange County continues to grow and our economy continues to thrive, that prosperity is shared in communities all across the county. So I will just close by saying thank you to the more than 5,000 people that under Jeff Ball's leadership were part of putting together Orange County's Job First plan. And I'll say thank you to you, Governor Newsom. We're so grateful for your partnership and your leadership. Orange County is ready to get to work. And with that, please join me in welcoming the governor of the great state of California. Welcome to Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Assemblywoman. Well, let me thank all of you for taking the time to be here. Jeff, thank you so much for laying out the strategy in your plan and providing me the 700 pages as proof of your hard work. Brett, thank you for hosting us, and I'll brag on everybody else in no particular order. But I do want to sort of step back a little bit. I'm very passionate about this subject matter. I'm a guy who came out of college, Santa Clara University, with an idea, pen to paper, got 13 investors, $7,500 each, started my first business with Pat Kelly, who was with us until she just recently passed away. We created about 21 small businesses, had about 1,000 employees at peak. And I say that not to impress anybody, but to impress upon you my passion for entrepreneurialism, my passion for risk-taking, my passion for free enterprise. But it's not just about growth, it's about inclusion. And it was clear to me that the state of California needed to do better and more as it related to economic development and workforce development when I had the privilege of taking the oath of office some 7 years ago and becoming governor. There was no economic and workforce development strategy in the state, period, full stop. there were plans that were provided to the state, and our state of mind was, frankly, a little passive. It lacked intentionality. We rested on our laurels. We put up our feet. The world we invented in so many ways, however, clearly started competing against us. Sectors of our economy in the biotech, life science, nanotechnology sectors of which we dominated. We started to see these metros all across the United States, in the Austin region, the Boston region, so many other parts of the country competing. Success, after all, leaves clues. And as a consequence, it was clear to anybody, rational thinker, that California needed to do more and better. But one of the mindsets, and you heard that advanced today, was a very different mindset. That California, size of 21 state populations combined, is not one economy as large as Didi said. By the way, those are Q3 numbers updated, about $4.3 trillion. Interestingly, we were the fifth largest economy for a brief moment. Japan had taken us out of our fourth largest economy status for a few months. Eat your heart out, Japan, we're back. And though we're watching the dollar plays a bigger role than even our economic growth in some respects. I say that to make the point. We've been very mindful of our positioning. But that positioning couldn't be top down. It had to be bottom up. That California, as large as it is in the aggregate terms, that experience of economic prosperity is not consistent throughout the state of California. And so we designed a new strategy. We created 13 regional plans, 13 regions in the state, where we asked folks like Jeffrey and others to come together across the spectrum and to advance strategies to address the unique characteristics of Orange County region versus the Redwood Coast versus the border region. What are the attributes? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? How can we be more intentional in terms of developing partnerships with our university systems? Where are there deserts as it relates to academic opportunities and research and development, and how can we address those concerns? And so we try to breathe new life into parts of the state that, frankly, often are forgotten. I'll be going to Kern County again. We launched this process, not just in LA, the overall process, but the original plan in Fresno County. The second was in Kern County, and we continue to go back to check in, and that's the purpose of today's announcement. What's different about this economic strategy, and it's profoundly different, I don't know of anything like it in the United States of America, and I've spent a lot of time talking to other governors, Republicans and Democrats, is we back this up, and this is why I want to thank our Assemblywoman. We back this up because of her leadership and her colleagues with $287 million. That's unprecedented. It's one thing to ask for a plan. It's another to actually fund it. And here was the strategy, $5 million for each region to begin the process. $5 million equally. LA or the folks even up there near Eureka. They all got $5 million. And by the way, that was unique as well. Everybody in LA thought they should get all, I'm trying to be kind here, but the point was to make the point that it's about regions rising together. State vision is realized locally. And so this notion, again, of bottom up, $5 million. But this was the big idea. In the process of developing the plan, we said, if you've got great ideas, let's go. And that's why we put an additional $14 million so that there were ready-to-go projects where you can start investing. One of the big ones you did here was, I think, $3.8 million to a micro farm, Walnut and Dairy, that was a beneficiary of some of those early investments. And that created momentum, and that created energy, and people said, wait, that's different. That's something we haven't seen in the past. Additional $120 million was just advanced this last calendar year to continue to promote that progress. You saw, or rather you've heard, from Didi, the totality of the investments the state's making, $1.6 billion a year. People don't know that, and they should know that. The Cal Competes tax credit, what we did in the film and tax credit, with other programs that we have in this space and in this state. Stewart referenced the 600,000+ apprenticeships in California. People don't know that. You didn't listen to my State of the State. You forgot about an hour in that was referenced. So you got to repeat this over and over, because the declinists repeat over and over and over and over and over again what's wrong, but they're not focusing on what's right. And I want to just build on that, not only building on this notion of localism and regions rising together in alignment with our universities, alignment with our workforce strategies. But you know what? We have no peers. You know, Hadi was making the point about how large the economy here in Orange County is compared to 33 other states. There is simply not a major industry in California that we don't dominate in compared to every other state in the country. In forestry jobs, in hunting jobs, in manufacturing jobs. By the way, interesting, manufacturing, 13.9% of America's manufacturing is in California. Just to compare, because it's interesting to me, Florida is about 2.8%. 2.8% compared to 13.9% manufacturing. No larger manufacturing state in America, $405.6 billion output. No one comes close. Ag jobs, $62.1 billion. No one comes close. Talk about rural America, you're talking about California. No one comes close. We have no peers. In fusion, in quantum, in every major category. Don't get me started on AI. It's not even interesting. 32 of the top 50 market cap companies in the globe are here in our home state. The finest system of higher education, that conveyor belt for talent, the biggest beneficiary right here, Brett, I think, in terms of that ecosystem, UCI, his research and development team, proximate to the research and development teams at UCI. Interesting, California's 18% of the global R&D, global as a state. There's only 2 other nations with higher percentage of R&D. That's China at 22%, Germany at 21%, California as a state at 18%. Is it any wonder we dominate with more scientists, engineers, more Nobel laureates, more researchers, more patents than any other system in the world? I highlighted the 4 new Nobel laureates that came out of the UC system. Talk about a conveyor belt just last year. Robotics, aerospace, dominant. Fusion, California, dominant. Autonomy, dominant. No one comes close. And that exists and persists today. But again, I'll close. There are persistent gaps. And that's fundamentally what this addresses, is how do we mine those gaps? Folks in Imperial, Inland Empire, Imperial, they're feeling a little different about this conversation than the folks here in Irvine, Santa Ana, other parts of this county. And so that's why I'm very proud of your work. Jeff, thank you. And very proud to support it and fund it. And I'll end on that. This was about a sustainable mindset, not a situational mindset. This is one-off, and this collects dust, and it's just another one of those. This thing is a living, breathing document that is funded, a living, breathing document that is iterative, that has entrepreneurial mindset that is captured within it. It is not a fixed mindset. And so I got another year. I got a sell-by date. I'm mindful of that. But as long as I'm here, we'll continue to make the kind of investments in this, as we were discussing a moment ago, this flywheel as it relates to our new strategies here in this state, with expectation that the next administration, certainly with Kadi's leadership, all the confidence the legislature will maintain that status, but the next executive administration carries this torch forward and gets it to a whole nother level. With that, we're happy to answer any questions. Yeah, well, that's a big part of our focus and a big part of what's laid out in these strategies and plans. Let me give you some proof points. California, just from a medical perspective, just did something no other state's done. That's created our own insulin, $11 insulin. We're not subsidizing the cost. We're lowering the cost by partnering and now advancing strategies to manufacture our own insulin. Let me give you another example. We have the largest expansion of childcare of any state in the nation. We created a brand new grade, pre-K for all, fully implemented this last calendar year, saving working families up to $18,000 a year just through that program to address the issue, the cost of childcare. High quality pre-K for all Californians. The biggest expansion in the United States of America. We've almost tripled the earned income tax credit to allow working families to keep more of what they earn. We created a child tax credit We lowered taxes on diapers. We're actually creating our own brand of diapers under our CalRx program to fundamentally lower the costs and to subsidize, as we invested last year millions of dollars to address the cost of diapers for new families. We have a parents' agenda that laid out in detail and it's architected strategies, tens of thousands of dollars a year of savings. We have now new housing strategies to address the issue of affordability in this state that transcends all other issues, that explains more things in more ways on more days of what's challenging about this state, and that's the supply-demand imbalance as it relates to housing. The most significant housing reforms in our state's history were advanced this last year. Over 61 SEQA bills I've signed. They said it couldn't be done last year, almost didn't get done. I had to put these reforms in the budget, which I assure you is anomalous, in order to get where we needed to go, to finally break through on the challenge that has faced this state for decades and decades and decades. By the way, I'll just remind you as well, unsheltered homelessness is down 9% in California. As you've seen the nation going up, flywheel finally turning the corner. Years of investments starting to pay off. After school for all, summer school for all, full 9 hours a day of enrichment. Commitment we made 4 years ago, backed by $4.6 billion to offset the cost for working families. You've talked about after school for all for years and years and years in the state, finally delivered that this last calendar year. I can give you example after example, including, not everyone agrees with this framework, but the most progressive rent control in the United States of America at a state level, including just cause eviction. That was advanced a few years ago. People forget that. The state actually leads the nation in that space to address some of those anxieties and create some caps, which I know not everyone is absorbing and not everyone is satisfied with. Still local control as it relates to doing more, but the state's doing. And then a final point, forgive the long-windedness, and there's no chance you'll ever edit this, and no one will ever know as a consequence, but it's important. When I say growth and inclusion, we mean business about that. And I know as a business person, I hope I established that in the outset, I'm a restaurant guy, I've hotel, some wineries. You know, I understand the impact of the minimum wage, but I'm also proud of the fact that I'm paying my employees more than they do in 20 other states. 20 states in America have $7.25 minimum wage. $7.20, which means they're working full-time and ending up on social programs that taxpayers are funded and companies are let off the hook. That's not about inclusion. That's just about growth for someone else. California, we created sectoral minimum wage, $20 for fast food workers and $25 in the healthcare space, the highest in the nation. That's also part of our affordability strategy. Wages are important. And so, again, forgive the long-winded response. I can give you another dozen examples, literally. But I want you to know the totality of our commitment. And again, it's all part of this broader parents' agenda.
Governor, podium there says jobs, jobs, jobs. How many jobs are you hoping, let's say by the end of your term, to have created through these programs?
Well, California has 18.8 million people employed. California has 221,000 more people employed than we did this time last year. Our labor force participation rate is actually growing, slightly larger than the rest of the nation. That is a big part of our intentional strategy. But we recognize there's been a lot of shedding of jobs, particularly a lot of those pandemic-related jobs where you're seeing a lot of industries, particularly in tech, shed a lot of those incremental jobs that were created coming out of the pandemic, during and coming out of the pandemic. And there's a lot of anxiety in the AI space. No other state's leading the nation in terms of regulating that space and in terms of addressing some of that anxiety. We'll be talking a lot more about that with our universal basic capital strategies and other strategies to address those anxieties. And by the way, Jeffrey, thank you for laying out. I did have a chance to review some of the AI pages in this space. So each region has numerics. State of California then rolls all of those up, and we invest in those numerics. We laid out today was the $1.6 billion that's attached to 61,000 jobs specifically that were part of the investments that we're highlighting and promoting today.
Jump on the Spectrum one. The Legislative Analyst's Office just released the numbers from December saying that the state lost
That's right. That's why we're here. That's exactly why we're here. That's what these strategies and plans are about, and it's exactly what I was highlighting as it relates to our larger industries and some of those job cuts that we've seen, not just in the state of California, but across the United States. As you know, the national headwinds are a big part of that. This last year, it's been highlighted, some large, the numbers are rather large. There was some highlighted reports today about the loss of manufacturing since Trump first got into office. The promise around blue-collar jobs gone in the opposite direction. We're losing manufacturing jobs since it came in. Why? Because of tariffs. Why? Because of mass deportations and the impact that's having on labor force participation and it's having on labor force more broadly. The impacts of those disproportionately here in the state of California. Tourism, big part of the Orange County thing. Ask Jeff, ask the folks at Disney and elsewhere how the Canadian tourists are doing in California. Direct result of Trump's policies. The tax increases, regressive tax increases of these tariffs. Direct results of Trump's policies. The impacts as it relates to what's happening in Long Beach and our ports of LA. Direct result in terms of the trade issues, how we've treated our allies overseas. So this has been a wrecking ball presidency from my perspective, and let me highlight that. The worst job creation since the recession of 2003 under this administration. We were averaging 145,000 jobs last year, a month. Under the Biden administration, it's, 50-ish. Under the Trump administration, I think it was 50,000 to be exact, nationwide last December. That is also impacting the state of California. So we recognize our approach needs to be organic because of those federal headwinds. Anybody else? Well, we'll take that as a sign of, I don't want to suggest approval, but calm. And again, we just want to thank everybody. And Stuart, thanks for all your leadership. And Dee Dee for inspiring this. Kati, thank you for being the champion and leader in the Assembly. To all the members of the California Legislature, you are a big part of this narrative and story, and we couldn't be more grateful. And to everybody among those 5,000 people who participated in the Orange County plan, job well done, and we have a lot more work to do. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, sir.